Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the free-to-play INT Babidi with Majin Vegeta standby skill. So this is the INT Babidi, or otherwise known as Energy to Fulfill Ambitions Babidi. He is an inhuman deeds lead of 120%, greatly raises defense for 1 turn on his 18 or on his 12 key with a high chance of sealing. And on his 18 key, he has a greatly raised attack and defense, whilst also having a high chance of stunning the opposition. Not sure why they made it high chance of sealing. I think they should have just made it sealing, but it's okay, it's fine. In terms of his passive, he has key +3, attack and defense of 140%. He gives extreme class allies attack and defense of 30%, and he has a high chance of evading enemies' attacks if there's a super class enemy. He also has a key +2 and gives extreme class allies a chance of critical hit of 10%, and he has an additional attack and defense of 40% when performing a super attack if there is an extreme class enemy. So in terms of raw stat output, he's actually better against extreme units, which is fine. I actually think, personally, the output of the Babidi unit is pretty good, considering he's actually predominantly a support unit. 30% attack and defense for extreme class allies is very vague to cover all his categories. Key +2, additional crit chance, lots of that's really good. He has Brutal Beatdown, Master Magic, Margin Resurrection Plan, Thirst Conquest, Nightmare, Shattering the Limit, and Legendary Power, which is a standard Babidi link set, but not one you're going to get with a lot of other units. And he's got Resurrected Warrior, Majin Buu Saga, Terrifying Conquerors, and Human Deeds, and Corroded Body and Mind. A lot of people want to build him full dodge, and that's fine. For me, personally, I just like him being crits, but it just depends on what you want to build. Crits, additional dodge, it doesn't really matter too much. Dodge makes him a suitable support floater. Additional also helps him out due to greatly raising defense. Crits tries to get the most out of the active skill, but it doesn't do a lot anyway. In terms of his functionality, the standby skill can be activated from the 4th turn from the start of battle with no other requirements. You'll gain 1 charge per key sphere. Whilst in that form, he is unable to attack, but has 150% defense, 3 key, and an additional defense of 100% when attacking when receiving an attack if key is 12 or more, and damage reduction of 40% when receiving an attack if key is 15 or more. You recover 10% HP at the end of a turn in which you have 18 key, and an attack of 300% when the finish skill is activated. If you have the finish attack, you will raise attack by 15% temporarily per charge count and cause super ultimate damage to the enemy. There's 2 variants. There's one where you fail to reach 29 charges, and there's one where you hit 29 charges. Basically the difference is the modifier, and you'll do more damage. The animations are also different, and the 12 key actually is kinda nicer than the 18 key, but it's okay. You can see straight away he's looking pretty good. 200k defense, 220k defense, 3 million attack stats, not too bad. You would have a bit higher if you're facing an extreme enemy, so that defense would shoot up quite a lot. It'd be close to 400k, which is pretty good. And then you'd also obviously have that decent attack boost as well. So I think Babidi overall is pretty good. I actually really like the Babidi unit. I think the Babidi unit is super duper functional. I think it's actually a very good generic extreme class support. Without being too pedantic about it, I think if you were to get this unit as a support, obviously it being a free-to-play legendary is something, but for you to have a 220k support that greatly raises its defense and also provides 10% crit chance and 30% attack and defense, you probably wouldn't be too upset. I'm not upset, at least, about the overall performance. So I think from that perspective is really good. Where I'm not convinced about the unit is the transformation into Majin Vegeta. The Majin Vegeta transformation feels a little bit strange because of 2 reasons. So one, the way the defense works is not necessarily an equivalent trade-off for Babidi. So in this scenario, Babidi would have had 50% evasion and close to 300k defense. When Vegeta is hit and he has 15 key or more, he is technically defensively stronger than Babidi, but he loses his evasion, and he's not really strong enough even with the damage reduction to be considered a pseudo first slot tank. Now he is strong, don't get me wrong, you can see there that he tanks pretty well. but it's not like he becomes super duper strong. He does have the health recovery, which is something. So I think they could have just tweaked it a bit more. I think if he just applied the defensive support still, whilst he was transformed, I think that would have been great, because he could have applied it to himself whilst also applying it to the rest of the team. And I think there he would have been really good. And I know it doesn't suit Majin Vegeta to really be a defensive support, but it's just something that I think would have been really good overall. Now we are obviously looking at when he gets hit over 300k defense with 40% damage reduction. That's not bad. You know, if he created orbs or something, or just, you know, maybe gave the rest of the support key and defense, I think Vegeta would have been looked upon a lot better. I also think they should have just given his super attack or his finish attack guaranteed crit. So I think that also should have just been something they did. Like for me, personally, I think the guaranteed crit would have been a good equation, because then you wouldn't be so, like, you would have guaranteed crit on the standby, then you could leave him with a full dodge build for both forms, which would have been good, and would have just made it more efficient a unit, I think, at least from my perspective. Now again, it doesn't mean that Vegeta's bad, I just don't think Vegeta is as successful as Babidi, and I actually genuinely think that Babidi is a really good unit. Like, I know people will say, the unit doesn't really feel like, well, I don't know when you've last seen, we have units like Physical LR Ginyu, who also has 200k defense and rises to like 400k, and no one bats an eyelid and says that's a great unit. Babidi is much the same. So Babidi for me is a fantastic unit. I don't have any problems with Babidi. I think he's excellent. I think he's really good. I think the big issue that I have is just that the standby skill itself could have provided a bit more utility and could have maybe just had more guarantee for its damage. It still can do pretty nice damage, but I think considering that it's a free-to-play standby skill, and it's obviously not going to be as nearly as effective as like things like the Spirit Bomb and that, I think you could have gone a little bit crazier with it. But overall, I think in general, unit's pretty good. I wouldn't prioritize links. The Vegeta one, I wouldn't prioritize links because it's not a temporary form. It doesn't do anything either, and he doesn't have any major defensive links. So barring Majin Resurrection Plan, you don't gain a lot out of him defensively. So I wouldn't prioritize links for him. And same for Babidi. Babidi is much the same. The big link for them is Majin Resurrection Plan. It's a huge link. It does 20% defense, which is crucial. Social Conquest is much the same, but Majin Resurrection Plan is not held by a lot of units. The number of units that have it are really on one hand. You've got like some Deborahs, the INT Deborah probably being the best of them right now, and obviously having great cross synergy with the fact that he provides support to them as an INT type unit. But yeah, he also really does struggle in terms of functionality. He needs to provide some orbs. If Vegeta had provided orbs, running him and Deborah together, or this Babidi and Deborah together, could have been a really, really fun free-to-play rotation. It still is a pretty fun free-to-play rotation, don't get me wrong, but I think it could have been a little bit better. But overall, I think Babidi's really good. I think we're just in a day and age where people, if a unit's not chucking out 8 million attack stats and has 400k defense start a turn, I think people just turn a blind eye to them. I think Babidi's a great free-to-play LR. I think he's a lot of fun. And I think the active skill, or standby skill as you could call it, is a interesting attempt that could have been a bit better with a bit of tweaking. But I think Babidi's a cool unit. I do think Majin Power as a category would have helped Babidi as it usually would most of these units. And I think that's the only, or one of the few other things I would change. Giving him Majin Power, I think, would have just made some really, really fun combinations for him. But overall, a really fun unit. I enjoyed using them. I enjoyed using the Vegeta. I really enjoyed them as a unit. I think the animations are really good, really top tier. And yeah, I think that covers everything you need to know. That's it from me. Bye.